also got elucidated yesterday, and about karma, of course, and also not to beg God to heal anyone who's sick. Let them go through their karmic journey in peace, because we don't know what we're trying to meddle with. So there was a lot to take away actually yesterday, and also to work on ourselves and our karmas, to be aware and ask the Guruji, God, whoever you believe in, to do the karmic cleansing, to enable us to do the karmic cleansing. So good afternoon again, or good evening rather, and I hope we're in a good space. I've just so it's been quite a blessed day with His grace. So we will try and cover as much as we can. Since it's countdown almost. We have 4 more days to go. We're halfway through. So yeah, we're doing very well. So here goes. Now Rudra found himself in front of Hitesh. It had been years since he had seen his friend. Hitesh, or Hits, was once a close friend of Rudra, but no more. Rudra wondered what he was doing near Hits. They had drifted far away from each other. Many years ago, they had been the best of friends. They could rely on each other through the best and worst of times. But seasons change, and so do we. So did Rudra and Hitesh. Rudra observed he was doing reasonably well for himself. Then Baba came through and smiled. So you were wondering what you're doing near your friend. Yes, you both have drifted apart. But the seeds of friendship once sown reside in the astral soil, blooming or dormant, but eternally present. What do you really think went wrong between you both? Rudra looked at Baba. The old man was aware which caterpillar had metamorphosed into a butterfly, but was pretending well not to know what had caused the drift between 2 of his children. You know, Baba, you aren't too good at pretending to be a normal human being. You know that, I hope. So stop acting as though you don't know what created the rift between Hits and me. Okay, fine. Reacquaint me with the facts. You sound like a very dangerous income tax officer. Reacquaint me with the facts, says the old man. Okay then, get reacquainted with Hits and I were the best of buddies. We started a small social organization to help the poor and then spread our work to aid animals too. We were both in college, and in our final year, when we should have been studying for our graduation, we both were loitering the streets of Bombay, searching for donors and also getting our organization registered, brochures printed, circulated, interacting with the poor, and trying up with vets too. It was slow going, hard work. After college, after lunch, we would leave and knock on a dozen doors, and through it all, no matter what the response, we would have a blast. Once, Baba, we entered a fancy office and were ushered into a fancier cabin, and inside was seated a fancier man with such a put-on accent that both Hits and I had to control our laughter. The more the man spoke, the more we had to squeeze our lips together. The man was so lost in his own ego trip and the sound of his accent that initially he didn't notice that these 2 young boys weren't talking, but just nodding their heads with their lips tightly pursed. Then it began. First Hits giggled, then I. He giggled some more. I followed. Then that idiot held his stomach and burst out laughing. I could no longer control myself. 2 minutes later, we walked out of the cabin and the office, tears gushing down our eyes. And for maybe 10 minutes, we did nothing but hold our stomachs and just howl with laughter. I know, Beta, we all enjoyed a good laugh. And seeing you both laugh so openly and so innocently was music to our ears. In the spirit plane, we love a good laugh. Oh, Baba, how I wish you were around me then. Baba just smiled. I always was and always will be, my son. Even then you prayed and spoke to me. So how can I not be with you? Whosoever calls out to their master with real faith and yearning and belief, the heavens have to respond. This is mandatory. This is a must for us. We are waiting to help those who call out. We want to help each and every single soul to move towards the light, towards the creator, towards the source, and eventually merge with the source. The entire spirit plane soul objective is to assist each and every one to move further up the spiritual ladder into higher spiritual dimensions, become a light worker, and then become light itself. That is the sole purpose of existence, to become existence itself. The sole purpose of meditation, too, is to improve the duality between the one who meditates and the one who is being meditated upon. In reality, the disciple and the master are one. That is the reality. That is where the journey ends. The search completes. That is the only truth worth knowing. There is no difference between the disciple and the master. The only path worth treading and the only truth worth knowing is that eventually all are one. This whole journey and the countless incarnations and reincarnations are a medium, a canvas, to reach this state of oneness and union and removal of the state of duality. Like Hanuman, like Lord Hanuman tells Lord Ram, in the human plane, you, my Lord, are my master. But in the spirit plane, my Lord, you and I are one. Such depth and still such a straightforward gospel of truth, that all are really just one. The purpose of meditation is to make us once again I'm sorry, somebody keeps calling. The purpose of meditation is to make us once again remember the eternal truth. There is no difference in us. We are all one from the same source, moving back to the same source, the creator. Anyway, I was and I am and I will always be with my children. Whenever they call or pray or think of me, let's move on with your association with Hitesh. Yes, thank you so much. You just take off, Baba. At a drop of a hat, you start giving me your philosophy. The old man chuckled. Okay, anyway, by the end of college, we had sort of started a social organization. We had helped a few people, lots of animals, and we had to put a stop to everything as we run out of funds and sponsors, time and money. Life moved on. We kept in touch with each other anyways. I got married and had children. Then he got married and had a child. But our essence remained the same till we met Mahesh. I always knew that man was trouble, but my friend Hits never listened to me. Mahesh began to start sowing seeds of hatred into Hits. We Hindus are right. They Muslims are wrong. The moment it became we and they, I knew I'd lost my friend. Hitesh and I had a very close friend called Arif. I was very close to Arif. We both used to work together. Even after I moved on in another job, we kept in touch. And then whenever I had work for Arif, I would involve him in my project and pay him well. And that was that. Arif used to help Hitesh out with his work too. Often, Hitesh had taken Arif's help. I was very close to Arif's family, especially his father, who was one of the noblest sons I ever met. He was a priest or a Maulvi, but had stepped down from priesthood and did not permit any of his 4 sons to become Maulvis either. When I had inquired why, he had told me in his usual jovial tone, what Allah has preached and what these fanatics want me to preach are 2 different things. The Holy Quran doesn't advocate bloodshed or hatred amongst fellow human beings. In fact, The Holy Quran is filled with gratitude, love, and praise for Allah, and advocates prayers and gratitude and harmony amongst all living creatures. But I was forced into preaching hate, violence, and all that I know Allah or Prophet Muhammad would never approve of. So I left my profession and became a tailor. It's okay. When I die and stand in front of Allah, I want him to be proud of me. I don't want him to say, what have you done, Yusuf Mia? I gave you rose petals, you converted them into swords and poison. Why did you stitch garments of hatred instead of robes of love? So here I am, a tailor, who can barely make ends meet. But I know that the cloth that covers my soul is beautiful and most expensive. How beautifully expressed. Baba nodded. The word infidel is not used for somebody who worships another religion or believes in a different form or version of God. The word infidel means one who defiles God, one who moves away from the path of God, one who worships that which is against the very essence of God. Remember, it doesn't stand for all those who do not worship my God is an infidel. Most fanatics are under the illusion that God, Allah, Ram, is really thrilled and jumping with joy because innocent people and children are being killed in his name. The wrath that awaits these people who have gone astray is so horrific that I have no words to describe. If you hate, kill, hurt, manipulate, sin, using God or Allah or Ram or whatever you worship, the ramifications are truly gruesome. A sin of passion, however gory, has lesser ramifications than when God is used to perpetrate one's demonic intentions. Do whatever you want, but don't use the name of God for harming another soul or grieving another individual. The consequences are really horrific in the astral and physical plane. Continue. Well, Baba, I loved Arif and his family. So did Hitesh. But as time passed, Hitesh slowly turned into a fanatic. He would try to talk to me too, but I made it clear that I don't want all this hatred or karmic grief. Hitesh tried to convince Kez too that Muslims were the root cause of all grief and that Muslims had destroyed a large part of Zoroastrianism. Kez nodded, like lit a cigarette, and told Hitesh to go boil his head. Hitesh still used Arif's contacts and asked him for help, but he no longer was a friend. He would use Arif, send him a gift, but never joke or laugh with him like he used to. Arif had noticed, but never thought it possible that a sensible man like Hitesh would fall into the abyss of fanaticism. But the fact was that Hitesh was no longer the person he used to be. His soul carried the weight of hate. So Baba, one day, Arif called me and with a choked voice told me that his father had passed on. I called Hitesh about Arif's father's death, and the words that came out of my so-called friend's mouth shut the doors of our friendship. He told me, good, one less Muslim in our country. And Baba, I thought I heard wrong. I asked him to repeat what he had said. You heard me right. One Muslim less in our country. He was a good man, but he was a Muslim. So don't expect me to grieve over a dead Muslim. I think that ended our friendship, Baba. After that, something inside me just died for Hitesh. I attended the funeral and was with Arif throughout. He asked me a few times where Hitesh was, but I lied, telling him that Hitesh was out of town. That day I lost Yusuf, Arif's father, and Hitesh. One I buried, the other I discarded. So beta, what these fanatics don't realize is that most often they are killing their own families, raping their own sisters and mothers, stabbing their own fathers, abusing their own brothers. No, I don't mean in a philosophical sense. I really mean that they are raping, killing, stabbing their own loved ones. Well, I will explain this a little later. Let's take Hitesh. A few lifetimes prior, Yusuf was Hitesh's father. Now, this is where it gets quite interesting. Now, Yusuf was Hitesh's father in another lifetime, in a previous lifetime. So they both were Muslims. Yusuf, even in that lifetime, was a devout and pious Muslim. Hitesh, his son, then had even in that lifetime got carried away by another so-called friend and had been brainwashed against Hindus. Hitesh's name was Imran in that lifetime. Imran, Hitesh, became a dormant fanatic. He hated Hindus. He abused them in his heart. He slowly had no Hindu friends or associates, no Hindu contact. When he left his body, nature, of course, did the obvious thing. Imran was born into a Hindu family, as nature wanted Imran to become a Hindu to understand the great philosophy that envelops what one now calls Hinduism. So the once Muslim Imran, the Hindu hater, was born as Hitesh into a very orthodox Hindu dynasty, a very religious Hindu family that observed all the rituals and were by and large a traditional Hindu sect. Thus, from being a fanatical Muslim in that life, Imran Hitesh was born into an orthodox Hindu family in this life. The irony of nature is stupendous. The best way to teach a soul to let go of hate is to make the very individual experience all that he or she hated in the past life. In the present life, Yusuf, who was Imran Hitesh's father in his past life, died. Imran was informed. Imran now, Hitesh said, he was a good man, but he was a Muslim, and don't expect me to grieve over a dead Muslim. But in reality is that Yusuf was Hitesh's father in their last lifetime. Nature wanted father and son to be together during such an important moment, but Hitesh was happy that Yusuf was dead. One more Muslim dead, he said, little realizing that his own soul would mourn such words, little realizing how he would regret such words and thoughts said and conceived about his own father from his previous lifetime. The same Hitesh was Imran, who hated Hindus and now hates all Muslims in this lifetime, which means, in short, the seed of fanaticism still prevails, and like a weed, it still grows, which means Imran Hitesh's main weakness is fanaticism, and he will be given a few chances more to work out his weaknesses. Otherwise, back to the animal kingdom will go Imran Hitesh, once again to go through the evolution process. But guess what? Such souls who are relegated into the animal kingdom subconsciously carry the cross of the knowledge of being excommunicated. It's a horrible cross to carry through one's evolution process. The feeling of having made a mess, but not knowing what, when, where, how, but certainty of making a hash of things and thus being excommunicated. The feeling of never belonging to anyone, as once you had belonged to another race or species, is not a good place to be in. Nature will give you chances. Nature is all forgiving. But if you keep falling and refusing to let go of that weakness of character flaw, then nature will resort to things best left unmentioned. So often, fanatics kill, rape, stab, destroy, and so much more to those who once were their own family members in some other lifetime. In fact, so many souls, so many times the soul of the loved one who is a fanatic, to save the latter from major karmic ramification, agrees to let the physical damage come upon him or her. I don't understand, Baba. For instance, suppose I was trying to absorb this myself. For instance, suppose you know that your loved one is struggling through an issue. For instance, fanaticism. So this is your loved one who is suffering from fanaticism. You also know that there are chances that in the forthcoming lifetime, your loved one might add serious karma by harming somebody, killing, raping. The stakes have been increased, and you're worried that your loved one might succumb and not succeed in discarding that seed of hatred. So what you do is agree to take on the karmic violence, which could manifest as murder or rape, torture, or any other form of barbaric violence. You have been the mother, father, sister, spouse, tutor in various lifetimes, and thus feel the need to protect this soul from further harm. Therefore, maybe in this present lifetime, this fanatic whom you have nurtured through lifetimes, in his crazed moment, might murder you gruesomely with hate and venom in his eyes, or rape your body and gorge out your unborn child, and you have agreed to go through it to save your loved one from major karmic ramifications, as your soul has already made its peace with the karmic laws and balance sheet and thus hurting you. The ramification will be far less for your loved one who is a fanatic, since you, the higher soul, has already forgiven this loved one of yours. So you have agreed to get brutally murdered or raped, tortured, exploited in this lifetime. This fanatic who was your child in one lifetime, or your father or mother or sister or brother, or son or daughter, in some other lifetime or other, but in this lifetime, you've allowed this carrier of this soul to rape you, or murder you, or torture you, all in the name of fanaticism, just to protect this person from greater, far greater ramifications. So it's through love. If we were to do this gruesome deed to another individual, as the other individual would demand karmic retribution, you have sort of made a pact with nature to lessen the karmic impact for your loved one. So when we see somebody murder or rape or abuse or exploit or hate with a vengeance in the name of God, money, power, lust, even family politics, we do find it sad and heart-wrenching, as we know the real bond between the two souls involved, the real bond between the murderer and the victim or the rapist, and the one raped or the abuser and the abused. These fanatics don't understand what they are doing to themselves and their loved ones. You really think Allah wants the innocent bombed, or Ram wants pregnant women raped? Do you really believe that hate is going to please your God? If it does, then that God has no right to be God. God is not a politician. He's a gardener. He's a nurturer. But make no mistake, he will yank out all weeds from his garden. So don't become weed. Become a blade of grass. Become a petal. Become a rose. Become anything but a weed. Baba, you mentioned that even family politics has such past life karmic bonds. Of course, son. Take, for instance, the in-laws and daughter-in-law relationship. Most often, the daughter-in-law has been the child of the in-laws in some past lifetime. That's interesting. In fact, in many lifetimes, I think all in-laws should read this. So, most often, let's repeat this, the daughter-in-law has been the child of the in-laws in some past lifetime. Hello, in-laws, please listen to this. So treat your daughter-in-laws well. In fact, in many lifetimes, and in this lifetime, the souls have come to work out certain issues, but not as a daughter or a son, but as a daughter-in-law. Remember, every parent and child has certain inherent differences and issues to work out. But as the bond is that of a parent-child, most often the issue is never resolved because it's brushed under the carpet. Daughters and mothers have so many unresolved issues. So true. Fathers and sons have their own share of problems. Nature has brought you into a relationship to work out your past karmic issues and resolve them and then move on. You might not agree, or you might agree to disagree, but one needs to let go. This is the fundamental law of nature and progress, to let go. And to let go in a manner that you have gone beyond the issue, and the issue no longer makes you bitter or angry, hurt or depressed. If the issue does so, then rest assured you are going to be back to address the same issue. Now, say for lifetimes, two individuals have come back as a mother and child, father and child, and siblings, sisters, brothers, sometimes as husband and wife, and still there are issues and karmic baggage to be sorted out. In the present lifetime, you may not want to, in this present lifetime, you might not want to choose a person as your mother. Remember, you choose your parent. Usually it is a mother, but often the karmic tug is so strong that one chooses a mother to resolve issues or be closer to the father. Now, let's say you've chosen your past life sister as your mother, for your sister has always taken care of you and loved you selflessly. So in this lifetime, you have chosen your sister as your mother, and you've chosen her womb rather than your own mother. You are born to your sister, and your sister, like always, has mothered you well and lovingly. But you have various unresolved issues with your mother of your previous lifetimes. Nature has to make sure you address them. So it weaves an intricate web where you eventually marry into a family, and lo and behold, have to call your mother of your past life once again mother, but this time it's mother-in-law. And then the drama unfolds. Nature wants you to resolve your issue just as nature wants your mother of your previous lifetimes to resolve her issue. As mother and daughter, you both loved each other but had innumerable issues that weren't addressed or resolved. So in this lifetime, even though you both wanted to escape the situation, Mother Nature wants her children to resolve their differences and issues and love selflessly and then move on. That's a tough one. So now you are the daughter-in-law. And sadly, in many countries, the plight of either the mother-in-law or the daughter-in-law is sad. Instead of resolving issues and moving closer to the light, both these good souls once again begin their conflict or strengthen their differences. And it's sad. It's very sad to see, because two good souls get mired into karmic muck, politics, scheming, disrespect, pettiness, trying to take the husband away from the wife, or trying to distance the son from the mother. And instead of resolving issues, the problems compound, leading to many more lifetimes of karmic balancing, till a time comes when nature realizes that it's futile and sends both back, way back into the evolutionary chart, becoming beasts of burden or worse down the chart of evolution, just because they couldn't sort out simple issues like normal, civilized human beings. But what if one has realized and wants to change and the other refuses to make peace and keeps harassing? It happens so often that either the mother-in-law or the daughter-in-law, one of them really wants peace, but one of the parties just doesn't want to throw down the weapon and call it a truce. Beta, that is where free will comes into play. Suppose one of them say the daughter-in-law wants to let go of all issues and go beyond and live in peace. She carries no grudge, no disrespect, has moved on. Her priority is only happiness and tranquility and peace. And most importantly, her master, or serving the poor, or just being a decent human being. Then she is absolved of the karmic ramifications and the karmic baggage, and her soul moves forward and moves on. Remember, if you don't hold on to a grudge or an issue or hate or anger, you have moved on. Nature has absolved you and has blessed you, and you're moved up the spiritual ladder. The other person, however, continues to stew in his or own karmic juice and moves down the spiritual ladder. The person is given a few chances, and when he or she doesn't take it, for whatever reason, then she will be sent down the evolutionary chart too. If you can't let go of an animal emotion, then nature says, become an animal once again. Reincarnation doesn't mean only coming back as the same species. It means coming back to work out your weaknesses and issues, as well as being given an opportunity to enjoy the fruits of your karmic deeds. We see so many women suffer at the hands of their in-laws or husbands, be it in the parents or the wife. Instead of enjoying life and each other's presence in their lives, they scheme and manipulate and cause grief and tears. But who are you hurting? Your own child, your own parent of previous lifetimes. Sister-in-laws plotting against each other, but maybe you were real sisters in previous lifetimes. Can you imagine what is awaiting you, not only back on planet Earth, but how horrified and guilt-ridden and heart-wrenching it is for you yourself when you're moved on to the spirit world and realize that you've caused immense grief to your very own loved one? When you review your lifetime on Earth and witness all the hurt and grief you have caused your loved one, trust me, son, that is hell. And that is hell for infinity, as it feels like infinity. As we in the spirit world don't have the concept of time, it could only be a few minutes on your planet, but those few minutes could feel like 100 years in the spirit world. Do you know what it is like to feel guilty for 100 years or feel wrecked with sadness and repentance? It's like seeing your worst nightmare come true. Freeze it and live in the moment for eternity. Thus, for us, fanaticism of family politics is one and the same. It means succumbing to issues once again in this lifetime and buckling down to your weakness and leaving nature no opinion but to deal with you a heavy hand. I have told you a million times that the character of an individual is not gauged by his or her own strengths alone, but also in how an individual handles his or her own weaknesses. Individual tests depending upon individual weaknesses, be it gluttony, lust, wrath, greed, sloth, ego, envy, be it power or possessiveness, be it politics, family, business, charity, friendship, whatever. Nature wants to see how you behave and enact and react in the orbit of your weaknesses. In areas of strength, even a mosquito or an ant will fare well. So why not you, human being? As I have told you, if a man's weakness is food and he's disinterested in power or lust, nature will judge and review the man in relationship with his greed for food and not for want for women, for he has no serious weaknesses where women are concerned. Cleopatra holds no attraction for him, but he won't care for the hunger of others, but gorge away at the food, leaving others hungry. Nature wants to see how he will behave when somebody is more hungry or starving, and he has the opportunity of feeding the hungry person or stuffing his own face with food. So work out always first on your own weaknesses, my child. This is nature's password and mantra to moving up the spiritual ladder. Comes back again to working on ourselves and on our weaknesses. But for that, we need to truly be aware of our own shortcomings. So if we are even secretly against, say, any race for that matter, not just Muslims, of course, he's mentioned Muslims, we need to resolve that issue immediately and send love instead of hatred or resentment or some kind of discrimination or disparity. It's something that we all need to work on so that we can really set ourselves free. Even the Bible says, set yourself free. It means in the truest sense, we need to really release ourselves of all the negative emotions that we carry and the negative thoughts and resolve our issues, even mother-daughters. I have 2 daughters and it's not always a bed of roses. So, but I have that awareness for sure that, we are here as mother and daughters, not as a coincidence, but we're here to resolve our karmic old debts that we owe to each other. So just to sum, and then we go to our cup of tea. Remember, if you don't hold on to a grudge or an issue or hate or anger, you have moved on. Nature has absolved you and has blessed you, and you have already moved up the spiritual ladder. The other person continues to stew in his or her own karmic juice and then moves down, not only the spiritual ladder, but even the evolutionary chart. Now, that's not your business, though. Just like they say, you have to focus on your journey and focus on letting go of your issues. What the other person is doing, what the other person is reacting towards you is not your business. That is their karma. So not to get entangled again in their hatred for you. Enjoy your tea. I hope you're enjoying it. Again, another heavy lesson. I don't know which was heavier, yesterday or today, but today is also very heavy. But I hope you're absorbing as much as you can. It's a lot of amazing learning, actually, that, even when we hear about terrorism and we see all the atrocities happening around the world, people are so misinformed. It's so sad because we pray that they also see the light and they realize that we're all one. And, maybe I was a Muslim in my last lifetime. You never know. And the Muslim might have been a Hindu, like the book is stated. So we are literally all one. Hence, we are all one. Because there is no divide, religious divide, actually. It's all man-made religion. Guruji, when he was sitting in his physical, there were so many Muslims that used to come and bow before him, and from different race. Today we have Iranians coming to Guruji because there is no difference. We are all part of the same human race, same part of the same humanity. And then suddenly it happened, something that Rudra was waiting for, craving for, something that he had been praying for since he left his physical body, but truthfully, something that had possessed him when alive in body, and now in spirit too. The tug of love, the pull of remembrance from his child. Baba smiled. In that smile were the very heavens of all the universes embodied together. So it has happened. What you have never brought to your lips and even to your conscious mind has happened. Your child is calling out to you. Yes, unfortunately, it's not physical bonding, but metaphysical. But it's bonding nonetheless. And it's more real, as you will realize now. Go on, son. Follow the tug. Go with the pull. I want to give you some privacy. I don't want any privacy from you, Baba. Yes, I know, beta. But have mercy on the old man. Will you? I need the solitude. Baba, if you start becoming a loner, millions of souls on earth and in the spirit plane are going to be in a real pretty jam. Your English amuses me, Rudra, and your culinary skills horrify me. But you are mine, and that is all that matters. Go on, follow the poor beta. He was going to meet his children after more than 6 years. He hadn't seen them for so long that he wondered if he would recognize them. And Rudra smiled. And the next instance was in familiar surroundings, and the very next moment the realization hit him. He had been here, and he had been with his children, even after the separation, innumerable times, virtually every night. But he had never remembered when he woke up. And he looked around, and in that instance, Baba was present too in the room. Baba smiled, and in that smile was the tenderness of love of a billion compassionate mothers and tender fathers. Rudra wanted to weep. He now understood. There were no goodbyes, and there was no real separation between those we truly love. Yes, my love. Yes, my son. Physically, they had been taken. Yes, my son. Physically, they had been taken away from you, but spiritually and in the spirit, what is yours will remain yours, my son. You have been meeting your children every night when you slept. Of course, on only those nights you have slept, leaving everything in your master's hands. On nights when you had drunk too much or been angry, bitter, sad, those nights an individual's aura and spirit is too heavy to really travel and meet his or her loved ones. But on nights when you have prayed or at peace, and at least in positive surrender, those nights, the aura and the spirit body is light. And those times, astral travel takes place. And those moments you meet with your loved ones, past or present, which means those who have moved on from the physical plane and are in the spirit plane, and even those who are still very much in the body, but for some reason there has been a separation. We don't believe in separation. We are all one. Thus, in the spirit plane, you meet your loved ones. Baba, you mean you meet those who have died? Or should I say passed on, as well as those who are in the body, like my children, but who have for some reason been separated or are living apart? Yes, only you can cause separation, hate, anger, pessimism, sorrow, depression, alcoholism, drug addiction, negativism. All other similar emotions prevent the spirit body from soaring high and to distant places, and hence prevent loved ones from bonding and meeting and reuniting in the spirit plane. But love, acceptance, moderation, selflessness, prayers, meditation, chanting, calm behavior, complete surrender and faith in one's master, all these emotions and conduct frees the spirit from the body when the individual sleeps. All this helps in reuniting loved ones, whether loved ones are here or passed over, or for some reason separated. Thus, when you were in the body, or in your terms alive, you met your children most nights. And now when you're passed over, or in your terms are as dead as a doornail, you still meet your children the same way in the spirit body. Wow. That is why I feel and know that I have been meeting them and coming here to this room since a long time. You have never been separated, my son. You have met your children every night, except those nights when you were too depressed or sloshed, thus heavy in spirit to actually take off and meet your children and let them come to meet you. What does that mean, Baba? If I can't take off, they run so they can meet me, can't they? Yes, they can. But you aren't in a position to meet them. You will understand. Baba smiled, and suddenly there was no time in the spirit. Rudra looked around. Baba had disappeared. Rudra looked around the room. Though in reality there was drastic changes in the room since he had lived there, Rudra realized that he was familiar with each and every alteration, as though he had never left. Baba was right. Where real love exists, there is no room for separation. Rudra moved towards his daughter, and then his heart sank. Now he remembered, and now he understood what Baba had meant when he had said, "Except those nights when you were sloshed or depressed, too heavy in spirit to take off and meet your children or let them come to meet you." He had never been able to connect with his daughter, even in the spirit plane. Her aura around her spirit body and physical body was so closed and filled with anger, guilt, confusion, and doubt that there was no way she was going to allow her father to interact or meet or love her. Her aura was heavy, and that prevented her from any interaction or contact or astral travel. And Rudra knew and understood why. He was a cause. The separation had caused this child of his to get angry, bitter, and resentful only towards him, but in reality towards everybody around her, especially herself. And this burden she carried made her spirit body heavy and prevented her from soaring into the astral world, at least to meet and connect with him. Rudra realized that he had been around his daughter, but she had never connected with him. It was a one-way communication. Rudra moved towards his son and he smiled. His boy was standing in the spirit body, a few feet away from him. They moved towards each and embraced. It was a beautiful sensation. This merging of two spirit bodies, this merging of lives, so much more healing and real. And Rudra realized that he had every night and most nights met his children and suddenly hugged his son. It didn't feel as though he's holding his son after years. He knew he was holding his son only after a few hours. Rudra and his son moved out of the room, and suddenly Rudra found himself with his little boy on the beach. It was daylight, and Rudra realized that his son wanted to relive those days that had gone by, when Rudra and his 7-year-old son would travel on the bike and stop by the beach, and his son would eat corn on the cob and walk by the water, talking and talking, laughing and playing. All the very next moment, Rudra realized that not only were they on the same beach at Juhu, where they used to halt and take their walk, but his son had become a 7-year-old kid again, just like old times. And Rudra wanted to cry because his boy ran towards him and hugged him hard and close. And Rudra shut his eyes and it felt like heaven. After a while, they both were on the bike and going to known places, giggling, chatting, chanting, and doing all they used to do when they were together in the physical plane. Rudra realized they had relived such days so many times. The best part of it all was that it seemed so real that it was actually surreal. What is reality? Wondered Rudra. Is this real, or was that real? Or is nothing real? Is anything ever real? Then what is a mirage? His being in the body, or his dream state, an astral travel, or this reliving physical days in the astral world, but which seemed more real than those days that they had lived when in the physical body. Rudra then realized the eternal truth. One has to live in all the states, with the master throbbing within, and one's true self. This was the only reality. That was the only thing that truly mattered. Everything else was miscellaneous. The reality of life was living life full size, being true to oneself and to one's own master, giving one's best and leaving the rest to the master. And that was that. Nothing else mattered. Okay. Still have. Okay. It's quite heavy, right?
Interesting.
A lot to take in, I have to say. Very, very heavy. But if we live our lives really believing and that God is always with us, first of all, that Guruji is there to guide God and really he's watching us, then we will watch ourselves. When we know that he's checking us every moment, every millisecond of our lives, then actually we will begin to check and, check ourselves and we will watch our thoughts and we will at least aspire to be better human beings. So there's so much that one needs to really absorb here. So to continue, they spent the entire day together and eventually Rudra put his son to sleep. Just like old times, in the same room, Rudra was back to his cabin by the sea, sitting with Baba, smiling and tenderly handing him a chillum to smoke. Baba, I love you. You never really made me separate from my children. You made sure we met nearly every night. And then you converted the night into day just for all of us. That is what I have been trying to tell you since beginning. Like our Avtar, Meher Baba often says, God is merciful, but the path to God is merciless. Why would we want loved ones to separate? There is no separation, just as there are no deaths. Like you have been meeting your children so very often, the same way those who pass over meet their loved ones so very often. In fact, the only way you can avoid meeting your loved ones is by surrounding yourself with anger, hate, depression, sorrow, drunkenness, or excessive use of drugs or food addiction, lust. But if you are calm, moderate in your consumption and your conduct, or in meditation or prayer or chanting, or just positive surrender, then you allow your loved ones who are passed over to come and meet you. And you pass your time doing what you have always done or loved doing. Yes, when you wake up and you don't remember, for the same fact that nature has programmed you to live in the moment and not in the past or future. That is why you don't remember your past lives. But if you did, you would be reliving them or glorifying in them or flogging yourself because of them. Similarly, we don't usually allow you to remember your astral meetings, reunions, or travel. When awake, focus on the present. Of course, like your daughter who was filled herself with anger and resentment and who has been well and truly brainwashed and participated in the process, you as a spirit can meet her and try to be a medium for healing. But till she doesn't let go of all the baggage she carries in her mind, heart, and soul, her spirit body is an aura. Astral meeting and reunion is out of the question. And so is astral travel. Children do a lot of astral travel, by the way, as you're free in spirit. You will see children giggle and laugh and chuckle and scream and call out names when they sleep. Infants smile and chuckle and giggle. But as you grow older, your spirit becomes heavier for many. And for most, astral travel ceases or is very seldom. You have been meeting and spending time with your son, as he has not allowed his heart and spirit to become heavy and filled with anger, hate, bitterness, resentment. Yes, there have been nights you haven't been able to meet, as one of you was in deep depression, but one of you have always traveled in the astral plane and spent time with the other, even if it was for a while. In the same way, those who pass over spend time with their loved ones, just like you did with your child. Thus, there is no death. Keep calm, be happy, but stay content. Surrender to your master and his will. And trust me, there are no separations at all. You will meet and keep meeting your loved ones in the spirit plane. That is the law. That is a reality. Now make me some tea and remind me of my reality too. Ha ha. Baba, very funny. But Rudra looked at the old man. He first knelt and then prostrated before him in front of Baba. If he could cry, he would, for all the love and mercy and for never letting go of loved ones get separated forever. Like our Avtar Meher Baba often says, God is merciful, but the path to God is merciless. Why would we want loved ones to separate? There are no separations, just as there are no deaths. Okay, so we are on We have 10 more minutes. Shall I continue?
Yes,
No
yes,
question and
please.
answers, right, so far?
Yeah.
Please continue.
Have you lost me or have I lost you? Are we all okay?
Please.
Come,
Yeah.
I will quickly show you the relationships between the master or your guides or your loved ones who have passed over and those still in the physical plane. And then Baba took Rudra on a journey that either took an eternity but felt like seconds, or in reality took seconds but felt like eternity. Rudra was in a home and being pulled towards a room. He saw her, but the depression and desperation had made a wall so thick that it felt as though it was real. Though Rudra knew that it was the aura around her. She was middle-aged. Rudra focused and knew all about her. Beta, the aura that covers the body is a reservoir of all information pertaining to each individual. That is how masters and those who can read auras know every little detail of the disciple or those who go for blessings. That's amazing because Guruji used to just look at us again and he knew because everything's written in our auras. It's as simple as opening a book and reading the contents of the book. No magic involved. It's a balance sheet of the individual. And it's also a roadmap to where the individual is or might go. It's as though the aura is a bank of information, not only pertaining to what took place a few seconds ago, but also to what took place lifetimes prior and what will take place in the future. The master only scans through the aura and he or she knows it all. The aura carries past life karmic bonds and deeds as well as every lifetime, and masters can see the future through the aura too. Prayers and meditation help to cleanse the aura of the past and present life karma, and also helps heal the aura, preventing illness from reaching the body, and also remove the illness. Because if this aura is cleansed, the body has to be cleansed too, like pranic healing, I guess. Because if the aura is cleansed, the aura's casing is a casing that permits mankind to reach salvation, to go into the pits of hell. Prayers, meditation, calm temperament, focused breathing, charity, blessings, pilgrimages, being in the company of those who are pious, noble, and happy, all cleanse and work on the aura. So staying in good company, meditating, praying, remaining calm, it comes back to that, taking blessings from the higher source, going for pilgrimages, this keeps our aura clean. Be in the company of a happy child and you will realize that you yourself are happy and calm. Why? The child's aura has touched your aura and has already cleansed it. So when we used to sit in Guruji's aura, our aura used to get cleansed. And still that happens when we're sitting in a satsang, close to Guruji's aura, then our aura is also purified. Be in the company of somebody negative and you will start to feel uneasy. Too much association with such people and you might become negative too. Jaisi sangat, vaisi rangat. So very important to stay in good company, good positive company. Because the minute you are in a negative company who's gossiping all the time or, slandering other people, you become that too. Unke rang aapke rang pe mil jate hain, so to speak. So you become the same as what the friends that you associate with. That's why they always say the company makes a man. So choose your friends well. Better to be alone sometimes to be in the wrong company. So that is why we always advocate being in the company of saints, sages, and pious people. Their aura is so strong, they will begin the work of cleansing on your aura too. The reason why we advocate prayers and meditation as they directly work on your aura and your karmic balance sheet. To the extent that it can prevent future events from taking place, thus saving the individual or the family a lot of grief and discomfort. Jo hona bhi hota hai, wo bhi nahi hota if we are protected through prayer. The reason why pilgrimages are encouraged is that such intense prayers have taken place in the place of pilgrimage, and the master who walked and lived, and maybe even his physical body has been preserved there, or his holy ashes have been scattered there, that very essence of just being in that place begins to work on your aura. You don't need to bribe the priest or get some fancy VIP, or now is it VVIP passes to get the blessings of your aura cleansed. Just being in such holy surroundings begins the process. So it doesn't matter where you're sitting in Baramandir, whether in the front, the back, just the aura of the Baramandir is healing you. The process already begins as you enter a holy shrine. Nowadays, even in my place, you can get to my shrine faster if you have the right contacts, or you get a VIP pass and you are placed right in front next to my statue and my samadhi. And then you go back and say, Baba loves me so much. He gave a beautiful darshan by allowing me to sit next to him. Are you trying to say that Baba loves the person who's standing right at the back any less? The poor man or woman who has no influence or contacts or money to pay and get a VIP pass and has spent hours trying to reach my statue, but still can't reach a glimpse of it as there are hundreds before him or her, forcing this poor person to make do with chanting my name and being pushed around, till after 7 hours, she gets a chance of a mere peek and a second of touching my samadhi, is loved just as much as the one who stands right up front. The poor may not get a chance of seeing my statue, but I can see them in her, and extra blessings will always go to them. For they have braved the odds and the heat and the pushing and the thirst, and are happy to be just in the same hole as my samadhi. Remember, the longer the time you spend to come to me, the more time nature has in cleaning your aura. And your pilgrimage starts when you take the first step out of your home and ends when you have left the pilgrimage spot. Keep chanting your master's name from the moment you step out of the house, as your pilgrimage has begun then. If you are physically fit, and the only reason why you want the VIP pass is to avoid yourself the bother, the heat, and the jostling and the agony of standing in the line with hundreds before you, beta, what are you trying to tell your master? Is that I love you, but you know what, master? Not enough to go through the discomfort and the agony and the lines and the wait. Yes, if you are old or sick or for some reason can't manage to go through the waiting, it is understandable. But that decision is yours to make. Ask yourself, why am I trying to cut across the lines and go through to meet my master using influence or a bribe? And if through a VIP pass you manage to put, this is for me, by the way. So, and if through a VIP pass you manage to be put right in front, then my child, your master has no role in it. Don't tell people Baba loves me and put me right ahead. Say I have enough money to bribe somebody to put me in front of the master. Your master loves you whether you are standing right up front or standing outside the hole because of lack of space. Your master loves each one. Do you love your master enough to go through the discomfort? That is the question you need to ask yourself. Yes, I understand, son, that you might say, what about old people, children, ailing? Yes, I understand all that. But aren't the old people, children, and the ailing along those who are poor or without contact still paying obeisance to their master, braving the heat and everything else just to catch a glimpse? I say it is better to spend hours in line and calmly keep chanting your master's name as though hours, the master and his spirit co-workers get a chance to do a lifetime of karmic and auric cleansing while you stand in the line. Remember, those who take care of a master samadhi aren't there because of their spirituality, but because of their past lives, an association of past lives. But what they do with the opportunity of serving the samadhi of the master depends on them. All those who take care of the master aren't spiritual. And all those who wait in line and often can't even come to the place of pilgrimage, leave aside, be near the samadhi, aren't less loved and protected by the master. Anyway, I want to show you how your master and guides help you and your loved ones once an individual has passed over. Remember, my son, to leave the physical body is a reality that most mortals have to comply with. Ooh, what do you mean most mortals have to comply with? I thought all mortals have to comply with the laws of death. First and foremost, what would it take to get into your thick astral head that there is nothing like death? I've told you, death means life ceases to exist. Life never ceases to exist, my son. Transformation or transition or metamorphism is the rule of life. Change is the only reality of life, my son. Nothing dies. Everything changes form like water to vapor, caterpillar to butterfly, physical to astral or spirit. There is no place for death. The only real thing about life is that it never ends. Though I know for you, the only good thing about life is that it eventually ends. But death is a myth. Life never ends. Ignorance does. Bodies wither, become dust. The very dust arises, a new form of life, which too shall wither, will come about something else. But soul has moved on and either found itself a new body or has begun to work out its karma in the spirit world itself. Come, take a look at that woman. And Rudra found himself in the middle, and Rudra found himself in the room of a middle-aged woman. Now the rest, I think we will continue tomorrow because there's so much to absorb. Though I have not read, sorry, 1 second, I'm just going to calculate. Oh, I've only read 22 pages today, actually. Maybe it was slow. It's okay if we have to, so we have Saturday, Sunday, we have Monday. Maybe we'll need Tuesday also, if that's okay, because I don't think I've read too many today, although it felt very heavy today. Yeah, but now he's entering another individual's life, so that will take another chapter, and we are on time, dead on time. So I will have to kind of stop here today, and we can take maybe I'm halfway through, which is a good thing. But we have Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Maybe Tuesday will end this, if it's okay with everybody. If that's okay, Tuesday maybe it'll take us half an hour more. So I hope you enjoyed that. Again, very heavy, but really insightful. Like you said, the journey is not easy. It's not a bed of roses. The higher we climb up the ladder of spirituality, the harder the lessons become, actually. So there you go. So is anybody willing to ask any questions? Though I think it's all very self-explanatory today, actually. So any comments or any insights one wants to share?
Auntie, just want you to just explain a little bit about the mother-daughter and
I can't hear you.
Can you just explain a bit about
Shilpa, your
mother?
voice is like really low. Can you put your volume up?
I've put it on full. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah. So can you just explain a little bit about the mother-daughter and the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law concept, what we had read?
Okay, I can't hear you very well, but yeah, it's a very interesting one. I loved it, actually. I think because can anybody hear? Okay.
Auntie, Smiley Auntie is asking the mother and daughter
something
versus
wrong
the
with this
mother-in-law
sound
and the
suddenly. I can't
daughter-in-law
hear,
concept.
by the way.
Sorry?
Shilpi, actually, I can't hear you. There's something suddenly wrong.
Oh, okay. Maybe something my end.
We can all hear her. I think so.
Yeah.
Auntie, can you hear me? Can you hear anybody else?
I think her call is dropping.
Rashmi Auntie, you can unmute yourself and ask a question only if Anita Auntie can hear you.
वीडियो ऑन कर लो
Anita Aunty is rejoining, I think.
You
The call
cannot
is dropped.
stop your video because the host has disabled it. Start my video. Oh yeah.
I think Anita Aunty hasn't joined yet. Okay, she's saying she's rejoining. So just give her a minute.
Archie Aunty, you can unmute yourself also.
All right. Hi, good evening. What a beautiful initiative is this. So I thought till the time, I'm sure Anita Aunty has some technical dysfunctionality at her end because all of you are audible otherwise. So I thought that by the time she rejoins, we might as well can discuss. And somebody had put the question. So as far as I had understood from Anita Auntie's reading and her great explanation about daughters and daughters-in-law, mother-daughter and mother-daughter-in-law, okay, I'm just waiting till the time Anita Aunty is here and she'll be the
Okay.
best to answer. Yeah, she's
Should
here.
I ask
So
you?
she'll be the
So-
best to answer. Yes.
Okay, no, I'll answer. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah. Yes, Aunty.
Okay. Now, what I was saying about the daughter-in-law thing is very interesting. So, in fact, say now, for instance, Shilpi, you
Yeah.
were actually the daughter of your mother-in-law in one of your lifetimes, right?
Yeah.
Now, you both decided as your soul script to resolve your issues, right? In this lifetime as a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Now, there was a lot of bitterness or whatever anger in your past life, and you couldn't resolve it as a mother and daughter. Now, in this life, you come back as a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Now, the point is, now most of us fail because that whole stigma again around mother-in-law, daughter-in-law is always, it's very universal. It's not just very personal. It's very universal. It kind of keeps us in that position.
I can't see her.
I'm sorry, there's something wrong with the connection. Can you hear me?
Yeah. He can hear you, Aunty. That's okay.
So, most of us now, the daughter-in-law in this lifetime, if according to the Fakir, she passed by remaining calm, not reacting, by coming to a place of composure, acceptance, all the rest, and of course, getting spiritually elevated. If you don't react and you respond, you change your whole attitude, then the masters and your guru knows that you have passed. What the other person does is not your responsibility. Say your mother-in-law is still holding on to that bitterness and anger, and she's failed the test. I'm just saying hypothetically. She's tearing you from, say, your loved ones and whoever else there is in your life. But you have learned the lesson by, say, also detaching and sending her unconditional love and compassion and everything that we're supposed to. Then we're not building another karmic blueprint. We are letting go. Do you understand? Am I being too...
No, beautiful. It is very nicely said.
No, so do you understand? Like, my responsibility is me, right? I cannot be responsible for the way my mother-in-law treats me or the way she thinks towards me. I cannot be responsible for her attitude towards me, but I am definitely responsible for the way I behave towards her or I respond to her. So I will say, okay, in my heart, of course, I send you unconditional love and I let go of all the bitterness and the anger and the mistreatment that you have given me. I let go because it's important for me to forgive and move on, so that then the masters and your guru will definitely support you in your spiritual journey. Rashmik, sorry, your hand is up, so please ask.
Yeah, I just wanted to share something with you. You know, it's really amazing. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's really amazing how Guruji makes you listen. You know, Guruji is making me listening to all this just when I'm in the middle of a terrible relationship problem with my father. You know, I actually, 2 years back, I shifted in with my father, my husband and I, since I'm the only child now, my brother has passed away and my mother passed away before that. So we moved in with him, and since that time, you know, he's hold a grudge against us. And you know, I actually prayed to Guruji that, you know, all my issues with him, I want them to be resolved in this lifetime. I do not want to carry this forward to another lifetime. I actually, you know, prayed to him. When I confided in a friend, she told me, she says, listen, your journey is going to get very difficult because you have asked for it. And believe you me, the journey is so difficult that, you know, matters have reached the High Court. But listening to this today, because obviously, you know, there's a lot of bitterness on both sides. And I am, you know, still being forced to care for my father, give him his meals and everything, considering that he's an old man. And obviously, you know, I'm very bitter about it because he treats me like, you know, he's always treated everyone like that. My mother, my brother. So he's, you know, I don't want to comment on too much on that. And, you know, I was filled with a lot of bitterness and hatred for him. And I was in constant battle with Guruji. Why are you making me care for him when I know that constantly he's abusing me? He's abusing me and my husband left, right, and center. And I'm going through this right now. And just listening to this today, you know, I am so much at peace that I will continue to do my bit no matter what.
Yes,
you know, I'm so thankful for this experience.
Well said, well said. Beautiful. Beautiful, well said. Also, can I just add to that, please?
Yeah,
can you hear
please.
me?
Yeah.
I have always taken support from spirituality.
Yeah.
I have always literally surrendered the hatred that, or the resentment, or the jealousy, whatever it may be, that has come my way. Today I'm a single woman, so obviously, you know, I don't deal with those issues per se from in-law side, because I've separated. I break in, but separation doesn't mean you cut the cord, right? Because you're still holding on to a lot of, I was holding on to a lot of anger and resentment. But then when I realized that I'm only coming in my own way, I'm blocking my own energies, I then let go, because I wanted to evolve spiritually, right? I wanted to grow and, you know, go up the spiritual ladder. Because for me, I understand my incarnation in this lifetime is to really work on myself so I can move towards the light. I mean, if I don't learn it now, when will I? So Guruji has given me this realization. So I have actually let go and forgiven, to the extent that every Diwali I still go back to my in-laws' house to give them a gift and say hello, hi, and whatever. They may not welcome me with open arms, but I still do it because I've actually cut the cord, you know. But having said that, it's easy for me to say because I'm actually single. Now, somebody who's married and in that situation, I would say still cut the cord. Imagine cutting the cord and sending them unconditional love and light. That'll lighten you so much. And of course, surrender it to Guruji and strengthen yourself further through the mantra jap and the, you know, mantra jap and his Gurbani, you know, because that is what is, he's given us the tools, right? And we just have to practice them.
I don't want to hold on to that anymore, because, you know, I can only resolve what my own issues are. I can't help what he's thinking or what he's doing.
Exactly. We can't control other people's behavior or attitudes, but we can certainly work on our behavior and our attitudes. And truly, if we're on the spiritual journey, then honestly, the lessons are so hard. Even today, the lessons come hard sometimes, you know, because your past never lets go. And your
And
cousin?
I actually asked for it. 2 years back, I've been into spirituality for a while, and 2 years back, I actually prayed to Guruji that please, all these issues I need to resolve in this lifetime. I don't want to carry it further. So that is why maybe, this journey is so difficult. But now I think Guruji is making it easier by, bringing me in contact with people like you or, other friends who are, into these kind of, who are deeply spiritual. So Guruji helps you all along, and we can only be thankful to him.
Yeah,
So
of course.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
No, of course.
Thank you.
Okay, my dear. Thank you so much. I have to go now. The good news is that my daughters keep calling me because we've resolved our issues. They're giving me the IPL passes now, so I have to go, even though I'm not into IPL. I'm not into cricket. I can't stand cricket, but they are insisting for some reason, Mom, you need to gather new experiences besides going for satsangs. So here goes. Mama's going.
Enjoy.
I don't know if I will, but yeah,
Okay,
I'm going to
bye.
go
Thank
now.
you.
See you tomorrow, guys. God
Yeah.
bless.
Jai Guruji.
Have a great evening. Bye.
Dear Guruji, before everybody
Bye.
leaves, tomorrow the
Oh, yeah,
timing is
tomorrow's at
changed
noon.
for the reading. It will be
Tomorrow's
1:30
noon.
IST and 12 noon Dubai time. And if anybody else is in any other zone, please check for your corresponding time. It's 1:30 IST tomorrow.
Okay.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you.
Jai
Thank you,
Guruji.
everybody.
Jai
Jai
Guruji.
Guruji,
Jai
Jai Guruji.
Guruji.
Shukrana Malik. Shukrana. Jai Guruji.
Shukrana,
Jai
Malik.
Guruji.
Shukrana. Shukrana for this
Shukrana Malik.
privilege. Thank you so much.